I'm Larry Johnson. Welcome to Ground Zero Lounge. Thank you. Give yourself a big round of applause. We are broadcasting live from Dantes in Portland, Oregon. Probably the most famous, most infamous, most open public forum on the web, in the world. Everyone wants to be here. You're lucky to be here. Give yourself a big round of applause again. Yes. And I'm happy to be here too. Everyone who's listening. Now, there's a couple of things. First, I have an update. As you know, we don't let stories go. When we get a story, we get a hold of it and we don't let it go. Clyde has a few stories that he's still got his hooks in that you're going to be hearing later. Now, last week's story was about a Chilean spider. Does anybody remember the Chilean black widow, right? No? Yes? Some of you were here, yeah. Anyway, I got an email from Chile about 2 days ago that updated the story. Now, last week I told you that there was this black widow spider in South Chile that when it bit you, that is a man, it gave him incredible virility for 3 days, and that a local doctor had extracted that venom and synthesized a natural form of erectile dysfunction drug. Okay, well, the update was a little more chilling. It turns out that this South American black widow spider, that's true for healthy adult males. It's also true that if it bites boys under the age of 12, it kills them. And men over the age of 55, it kills them. So you have to be between 12 and 55 to get the benefits of this poison.
Well, I better get going now.
Which, of course, in our twisted minds here at Ground Zero Lounge, tells me, like everything else, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Right. Thank you to those who appreciate the historical note. Okay. Anyhow, that aside, what I wanted to talk about in this segment was, you know, we give a lot of talk and a lot of thought to mind control, to propaganda, and so forth. But we don't give perhaps enough attention to the consequences, to the objectives of all of this. And what it is something that the world has always known, that America, presumably, historically, attempted to throw off, and that is slavery. Slavery is probably the most onerous, the most deadly form of human interaction, because whether it's chains on the wrist, ball and chain on the leg, or whether it's simple mind control coming out of the TV, out of the video games, whatever it is, what's going to happen is that when the person who has been in chains, when the slave awakes, the world is going to shake. Now, here at Ground Zero Lounge, we have talked, and I have talked particularly, about what can we do with the American people. They seem to go on as if nothing has happened. They accept all of the bullshit, all of the lies from the government. Hook, line, and sinker. Are they just hypnotized? Are they just stupid? What can we do with them? Because our destinies, our fates are tied up with them. It's important. We can't just hide in enclaves. We can't hide in dark bars in Portland, Oregon with our few friends and forget that the American people are out there doing whatever they're doing, which more or less is heading toward the abyss. What can we do with them? Well, I'm here to tell you tonight, folks, that when they wake up, all hell is going to break loose. If you think that Christianity, when it took on the world, came into the world through the slaves, and we are going to be privy, we are going to be witness to a spiritual, a psychological people that the world has never known, because the world has never been enslaved as it is now. That may be the apocalypse that we're facing. It may not be a natural one. As soon as the people wake up and turn on their masters, all hell is going to break loose, because we are going to have in America 300 million very pissed off people. And what are they going to do first? It's not going to be random acts of violence. It's going to be deliberate acts of revenge. Now, as you know, it's not just somber thoughts here. It's not just venom, whether imported or elsewhere. And because this is an open forum, because we celebrate the arts, and because we've had some great poetry recently, I'd like to call Bob up. He's gonna give us a poetry performance tonight. Big hand for Bob.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry.
He's been working on this one poem for 27 years.
Well, I stopped writing for a lot of years, and it's been coalescing to this. But for all of you who don't know, I raised Drew for 6-7 years of his life, from the time he was 5 till he was 11. So Drew is my son in many ways. And I love his stuff. But anyway, hopefully this poem will help wake a few people up too. So here's the poem, and it goes like this, goes, and I am looking right at you now, for I was born love's true form. Allow me my hesitations, forgive my seeming contradictions, for there I find my own imperfections within this earthly realm. Do you see as I that there is consciously malevolent evil in this world? And it does seduce us to deny our eternity of love's incantation and settle for moments of self-incarnation that will see their end. And you are looking right at me now, for you are born love's true form. You are allowed your hesitations. You are forgiven your seeming contradictions, for there you find your own imperfections within this earthly realm. You must wait no more with childlike voices proclaiming your innocence, listening to evil seduction, that your love is purified and lifted to divine heights by that very innocence of being. For evil is a cancer that will be destroyed by love's eternal creation. And those who have seen will be found lacking if they stand with innocence as love's true form. Oh, God doesn't cleanse us, but sometimes our disbelief in the center of our being does hurt so. But damn it, we are truth. And evil's martyrs we dare not become. For there lies the moment of love's final hesitation within this earthly realm. There you go.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. The mic's open, it's always open. Art, opinion, we have the open mic at Ground Zero. The lounge truly, truly the lounge is yours. I want you to think as we go on with the rest of the show, and I want you to think from this show to the next show, how we can fight this slavery that insinuates itself into every fabric of our existence. We may believe that we're free, particularly all of us here tonight, but we're not. We're not free until all of society is free. I ask you to meditate on that and to welcome the star of the show, Clyde Lewis. Clyde. Hey, Clyde, what's that blonde look?
What's that?
What's that blonde look?
Hey, I'm doing this tonight without having a drink.
Oh.
No, it's all right. I'll probably drink later.
You're drinking too much recently.
No, I have been. I've been drinking a lot. And I mean, there's a lot to drink to and a lot to drink about because the world is screwed, man. I'll tell you. Okay, so I was glancing through the news today, and you know, I don't have time really during the day to do all this glancing. I mean, I spent most of my time doing research on a project, and I'll let you know what I'm doing later. But I was doing all my research this week on a project that I'll be doing later on this week. I'm doing an investigation, and I'll tell you about it. But I happened to glance at some things. One of the things that I glanced at today in the news was very interesting and very telling. We have been talking here on the stage about how Americans are becoming disenfranchised with their government, and not just the idea of red state, blue state, and people being Republican or Democrat or what have you. Now, it was announced in the news that took a poll, 58% of the American people do not like any of the candidates that are being offered here in the United States for the election. I applaud that because it's so fucking true. Nobody is worth a shit in this election. Nobody. 58%. 58%. That's a lot. You know, that's all going to change with the propaganda. That's not going to change when we start sweetening up everything and they start telling you that these guys are your saviors. But 58%. And the reason why I find that fascinating is because all the stuff that I talk about here, about the idea, remember I was bringing up that whole idea about you know, I was talking with that English translator, this English historian, and I said to him, I said, do you think the Brits would bow down and worship Prince William if he became king? And if he called himself Arthur, he says, oh, no, the Brits are so cynical, they wouldn't do it, but Americans would do it. Americans would do it because we're so damn fascinated with our royalty. We're so damn fascinated with the Brad Pitts and the Angelina Jolies and the Paris Hiltons. The idea that Paris Hilton went to prison? How many applauded when they heard that she was kicking and screaming going into the police car? It's because there is no sympathy for a bitch. There is no sympathy for someone. I mean, can you imagine how much we cheer even harder if we put Cheney in handcuffs and put him in a police car kicking and screaming? Or George Bush? Yeah, that's the next step, okay? We did it to Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton has now found God. Everything's cool. All right, so 58% of the American people do not like the candidates that are being offered. So that either means A, George W. Bush has an in for another 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, because he just signed that proclamation that said if there's anything to destroy this country, he'll be president forever. Or it's a group of people that are 58% against the candidates and they want to hear Candle in the Wind playing over and over again as we celebrate the death of Princess Diana. Think about it. It's a Princess Diana tribute, and we're going to hear every fucking version of Candle in the Wind until you puke. And as we watch the video of the car slamming into that 13 pillar over and over again, you're going to hear Elton John cry as he sings that damn song about English roads. And it's going to keep going and going and going until you're sick and tired of it, just like they did with 9/11. Throwing those planes against those buildings over and over again until you have that loop in your head. Oh, by the way, she meant something to someone. She meant something to all of you. Now, what it is, you don't know, but goddamn, you feel so heartbroken by it. And those princes, how are we going to look at them? And what are they going to do for the world? Harry's going to Iraq. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. No. Who cares? We do, because we're Americans and we're disenfranchised. Why are we disenfranchised? I'll tell you why. Because we've got our immigrants that are getting this stay. They come into this country and then they basically get freedom. And people are pissed off about that. We have our Attorney General. He's under investigation. People are angry about that. We've got Cheney. They're wanting to impeach him. And you know what? The only thing I thought was interesting is that Cheney was in the hospital because he had to get his pacemaker rezapped. And I really think that what it was is he had to get his papers redone, or he had to get this, put the chip back into his head and make him do the rest of the orders that he's supposed to do.
That was work on his Darth Vader off.
Something like that. But what I'm saying is that it gets to a point that you start watching, and this guy, I'll tell you about this English guy, okay? This guy is this historian. When I talked with him, he laughed at half the shit I talked about, told me I was silly, okay? And and most of you do laugh at what I talk about and think it's silly, and some of you take it to heart, and some of you read it and realize that maybe a lot of the stuff I talk about is not crazy, and then it happens later on. I talk about it here, and it changes, and goes in, and it happens in the headlines later, okay? So he's sitting here, and so I had dinner with a friend of mine. We're discussing the situation with what I said about Prince William, what I said about Prince Harry, what I said about Princess Diana, what I said about people wanting to find royalty and falling down and worshiping it from Kennedy on down. And you know what he said to me? He said, you know what's really odd, Clyde? And I said, what? He said, so you ever notice that all of the reality shows have one British judge? Every reality show that's America's most impressive inventor, or America's top model, or American Idol, all have British judges. Have you ever noticed the increase of British reporters on CNN? You don't see them on Fox because they're all Americans, salute. But you see them on CNN.
See him everywhere else.
See them everywhere else, but you don't see them on Fox. What you're looking at here is you're looking at this conditioning process. We're no longer going to be the United States alone. We're going to be the United States and England and everybody else who wants to join our little family. Our little democratic family wants to go in and take out whatever is in our way. Iran is already in the crosshairs. It always has been, but it's more and more in the news now. And it's more and more being taken care of and talked about. It's almost like you can figure out what is going on. Between hostage rumors and people taking over synagogues and churches and what have you, it's all being programmed and reprogrammed. You can basically figure out what's going to happen next. It's getting to the point anymore where I have to be even more outrageous than I already am. And it seems like the more outrageous I get, the more the news comes out, and you're going, whoo! Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that, our thoughts here in this room, the collective consciousness of this room talks about, thinks about, and acts upon certain stories every week, and somehow they wind up in the mainstream media. And I don't have an eye or an ear into what's being said in the newsrooms. I'm too busy enrolling students at AIU. I don't have that ear anymore. I just read, and I didn't even have a chance to read anything this week because I've been so busy. All I've been seeing is I've been seeing things. I've been trying to put together patterns. I'll talk more about that coming up. What are you going to say, Bob?
I was simply going to show this headline in today's Oregonian, for those of you who didn't see it.
Okay.
Secret risks underground. You talk about stoking the fire of people's paranoia. This is simply about the jet fuel lines around our airport.
Our airport.
The Port PDX. This is about those that go under, and this is an interview with people from the neighborhood association, etc. And they're saying, boy, we feel like we're completely at risk now, and I'm scared, and oh boy, this is just terrible. Talk about propaganda trying to feed the fear of the average person in Portland. What better than this? Save us from this horrible thing that when JFK happened, that has already been completely poo-pooed by the mayor of New York. He said, get a life, start worrying about stuff worth worrying about. And experts have said it's virtually impossible for any serious damage to be done by any terrorists going after these underground fuel lines. It just can't happen.
What's really fascinating about that headline, though, is that the whole thing, the headline and the article are all in bold print.
Bold print.
Basically saying, here, come here, blow shit up, we're ready for you.
Here's where it's at.
Here's where it's at, do it. You know what else gets me about this? I saw this morning. I took it to work, I bought it, because I don't normally buy the Oregonian, but I saw this fine print, this big print got me. And it said, "The secret risks underground." And I remember a week or two ago here at the lounge, what did I tell you? I talked to you about War of the Worlds, the movie, and how the aliens all got into their vehicles that were underground, and the comment was, our weapons and those things that kill us were under our feet the whole time. And I was talking about missiles, and I was talking about the possibility of the Russians basically using electromagnetics to focus in on areas underground, basically areas in Israel and areas, because they were all talking about these missiles that they were aiming at Europe. And I brought up, well, they don't need to fire missiles. All they need to do is use their electronic gadgetry to basically pinpoint areas underground that can start fires in silos, and now, according to the Oregonian, pipelines that go to airports.
Hey, Clyde. Hey,
Go ahead.
This is really strange because I saw this headline this morning and I was watching something about a week ago on the History Channel or the Learning Channel, whatever the hell it was. Does anybody know in this room what M41 is? Has anybody ever heard of M41? New York City? The secret room that they have deep beneath, 100 stories below the subway system, where all the controls for the subways are. Okay, not a lot of people in the room know about that, and we tend to know about shit we're not supposed to know about. They have this freaking special that they're doing this series of the shit that's underground right now. And they're taking this guy down into this area that was a protected, highly secret area that all the controls, all the generators, the alternators, the power for the third rail comes up from this area underneath, and you can basically cripple the entire New York City subway system with the right equipment. And then they go in and they tell us about how Turkey, what is it, Istanbul, Constantinople is built on all these caves underground. You know, the whole city, this huge hill that this city is built upon, is built on basically a honeycomb network of freaking tunnels. And they're showing us all of these things that exist, and they're not telling us where they are because they're secret. But I mean, for Christ's sake, if the terrorists have any idea about the stuff that they used when, did anybody remember Miranda Gaddis out in Oregon City? Ashley Pond, and how they found them?
Yeah, right under their noses the whole time.
Yeah, and
They had to look underground and see them something, you know.
Yeah, they had to bust out the sonar. They had to bust out these things that freaking go out on eBay and get this shit now. You know, you hype it up a little, boost the voltage on the damn thing, and you can figure out where this shit is. And they're showing it on national television, on worldwide television. And there's the Oregonian right there. You know, it's not like the terrorists don't have fucking Google Earth. You know?
They're saying
Nice to
that
see you back.
that's true. You know, our headlines like this you don't see all the time. Secret risks underground. What are they preparing? What are they doing? They're telling us we need to dig deeper and we need to look right at our feet because that's what's going to kill us. That is what's going to blow up underneath us. Is all the networking that's under there. Think of all the things that are underground. You've got your pipes, you've got your water, you've got your gas, you've got your phone lines, you've got your internet, you've got all that shit underground. And you know, all it takes is one snip and you take out an entire network. All it takes is one bomb and you blow up an entire city block. You see, this is why a headline like this is irresponsible. No one would have thought, well, we talked about it before here at the lounge, but no one would have thought it would have come out in an article. I mean, this is where it gets spooky for me because if I talk about it, if we talk about it here at the lounge and it shows up in the Oregonian, something's up. Either we have our fingers and we have our fingers on the pulse, or we feel what's in the zeitgeist and we report it and talk about it here, and it's heard on the internet, and it's seen on the internet, and even more things are going to be exposed on the internet at the Ground Zero Lounge and with the Ground Zero shows, because there's a network that we're going to be starting up. I'm going to be starting up with some people here in Portland. They're behind getting this up and running. And we're going to make it happen. And I'm going to tell you more about a project that's coming up. But remember this headline. Remember it, and always, always, always keep your ear to the ground, because here at Ground Zero Lounge, we try to reveal some things to you. And we try to show you that, you know, it can be figured out. You don't need to be a psychic. You know, all you need to be a person who's aware, and that's it. Go ahead.
Peter Pace, General, Strengths Staff, right? He's gone. He was the commander of the land war in Iran, Iraq and Afghanistan. He masterminded that, basically. Now we're going to, it seems like we're going to the second stage, which is a sea battle. We have an admiral now going to run the whole thing, and Iran seems like it's the next target.
Sea blockade.
Sea blockade, something's going on. And another thing, I just want to say, you hear this word terrorist a lot now on television and in newspapers. Terrorist is being used in place of just common criminal anymore. It pisses me off. You got a criminal who's done something, but now they're being termed as a terrorist.
Well, because a terrorist has fewer rights than a criminal.
Well,
after the Patriot Act.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I just want to say that not every criminal or not every terrorist is a criminal. Not every
criminal is a terrorist? Is that what you're trying to say?
Something like
Okay.
that.
What do you want to say?
Good pitch.
Yeah, hey, that's no longer standing up in the continental United States. Of course, they've got all the terrorists, all the enemy combatants off in Gitmo, off in these offshore prisons. But today, the United States District Court ruled that George Bush cannot enforce his enemy combatant rules inside of the continental United States. Let's have a little bit of applause for the judge that said that our basic human rights stand.
That's good. That's good.
But I want to take this moment too to welcome back a good friend of Ground Zero Lounge. He's not here right now, but he was here earlier, who has just recently come back from a 15-month tour in Afghanistan with the U.S. Army. And he's back, and we welcome him back. And we want everyone out there to know that we are not just of one color here. We have, all of us are open minds. We all have our own duties, our own jobs to perform. And he is an outstanding member of Ground Zero Lounge as a member of our fighting forces.
I just wanted to comment on what the gentleman said before. It was a 2-1 decision in a federal appeals court. It was not the Supreme Court. That'll go to the Supreme Court. We'll see then how this government truly feels.
Well, before it goes to the Supreme Court, maybe that shit that's below us is going to blow up.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
I mean, they can't have anything happen without a little bit of a scare here. I mean, you have some moron put on a towel and start shouting, "Death to America," and immediately people are going, "Oh, 2 minutes of hate, it's Orwellian, oh my God, fall to your knees. Big brother, oh, help us." And Bush is already ready to sign a paper saying, "Oh, I'm here for another 8 fucking years.
That's scary.
I'm here to reign this fucking roost. I'm here to turn the power over." Remember when we pointed out here, the Queen was here? When the Queen was here, he signed that little document and immediately he became King, Power Man, Emperor. We didn't even need Jar Jar Binks to sign that fucking document over to him. He did it on his own because he's just as stupid as Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks, I saw a rumor on the internet today, which I'm sure should get a little Twitter of laughter out here. The word has it in Democratic Central headquarters that after Al Gore wins the Nobel Prize in September, he's going to run. And
How can you ignore that?
Yeah.
Right, and it's not going to change a thing.
It all goes back to what I said a couple weeks ago about politically sponsored science is crap. You ignore it. You should ignore it. You should fight against it, because when the politics start supporting the science, you know something is up. I mean, look back at Harbinger and the fire and ice prophecies that Hitler talked about, and how they changed science just so they could make it so that Nazis look good. Who's going to come and save us from global warming? Our leaders, of course. Why? Because they have the power to do it. They have the power to move the weather. They have the power to make clouds form. And they have the power for tornadoes to hit. They have the power for hurricanes to come. They have that power in their little pocket. And they are going to use it.
They have the power.
I know it sounds wild, I know it sounds weird, but we talked about it here on the stage. Force multiplier 2025, the Air Force, 2020, 2025, they want to control the weather. And they probably already have with their goddamn weapons they've been firing into space. We start seeing all of the jet stream move down, and we see all these weird weather patterns happening. 145 mile an hour winds in Denver, Colorado. Snow. Look how cold it is outside. That's global warming? That's cold.
And that's June in Oregon.
And it's June in Oregon, yeah. Now, I remember, I was freezing my ball bearings off one time at a 4th of July celebration. I mean, Jesus Christ. It gets cold here.
So you're saying never trust scientists that talk politics?
No, never trust scientists that are waiting to get grants. Never trust scientists that need grants and they basically have to abide by what the politics are saying so they can get those grants. All the people that are speaking out against global warming, all the scientists, are old farts who really don't need the money anymore. Pay attention. The people who are saying that global warming is a farce are the ones that don't need the cash. The ones that are behind it are the young ones that are still wanting that money so they can create new diseases to kill us all. To find other ways to scare us. Find other things hidden, more bees to kill. More people to level, more diseases to unleash. E. coli bacteria. How many people have heard about E. coli these days?
Oh, it's back, it's back.
It's back like a bad salad, Pope. I tell you, man, they talked about this hamburger scare. They recalled all this hamburger, and they called it organic hamburger, or they called it natural hamburger. Yeah, naturally there to kill you because it has E. coli in it. Kidney failure is a lot of fun, people. And that's what people get when they eat that shit. They get kidney failure and they end up dying. It just sneaks into the food situation. We talked about that here. We talked about how food is going to be the next target.
Same thing they put on the spinach.
It's the same thing they put on the spinach, the same thing they put on the what else did they, the spinach and the lettuce and all that other shit. It's all being fortified with E. coli. Part of a balanced breakfast, E. coli. Makes you shit out your ass. When you put a cork in it, you start ocular shitting out your eyes. God, that sucks, wouldn't it? What's that? Oh, a little shit in my eye, a little ocular poo. It's like I got E. coli coming out my ass and my eyeballs and in my ears. It's fucking everywhere. I know that's gross, but goddamn it, it's the way it is. Speaking of gross, how many people have seen these billboards for Body Worlds 3 everywhere? By applause.
Beef jerky.
Oh my God. For those of you that don't know, for those who are watching this on video, and for those of you who are listening online, Body Worlds 3 is a tour of dead bodies. They prop up in a museum and they all look like fucking beef jerky. They all look like walking scab monsters. The thing that really got my ass was the guy that's on the rings. They showed that to people, the guy with the rings, the girl with the teddy bear looking up at it. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. You know, I'm thinking, and they don't leave anything unturned. I mean, they're sitting there with their dick and their balls hanging there. You see the breasts hanging there. You see everything. I mean, it is fucking weird, okay?
On billboards?
Well, on billboards, right out here, I think there's a billboard. You see the guy, and he's got his damn skin, like, flapping in his shoulders. I'm thinking, ow!
And they're taking the kids from school.
Oh, yeah, well, they're taking kids from school. See,
My daughter.
okay, I'm not going to down this because it is anatomy, okay? It is anatomy. And I'm okay with anatomy. That's all right, you know, cool. But. One of the things that I think that we need to understand here is 20 years ago, 30 years ago, this shit wouldn't have flown. The reason why it's flying now is because we're so used to it now. We're so used to the idea of seeing people flayed on screen. We saw Jesus Christ get his ass kicked in the Passion of the Christ, and we thought it was good. We thought it was the coolest shit ever. Watching those cat of nine tails going into his back and ripping his flesh off. That's right.
Apocalypto.
We wanted to watch Apocalyptos. We saw heads being severed and blood flying everywhere. Yeah, that's cool, because torture films are back in vogue. Watching people getting their shit kicked out of them is back in vogue. Kids beating the shit out of each other and putting it on YouTube is in vogue.
Crucify him!
No shit. But, I don't want to get too religious on here, but take a look at those bodies. The weirdest thing of all was they had a body with a guy carrying his skin as if it were a suit. A guy standing there with a brain in his hand. with his skin all off, standing there.
I'll ask for your.
Now, either that's anatomy or it's fucking gross, whichever you want. I mean, I don't know what, I mean, if people have opinions on this, please get up to the microphone and talk about it, but let me see. We are living at a time where we have not experienced, that I know of in America, we have not experienced a time where we have seen bloodshed and death on the streets. We have not lived in a time where there are so many bodies laying out there that they can't cover them up. Body bags are neither Republican or Democrat. Body bags are neither red state, blue state. Body bags are dead. And the bodies that are in them are dead. And their guts are everywhere, their skin is everywhere, they're displayed for everybody to see. And I'm thinking to myself, I lived in Buenos Aires during the time of the Dirty War. And people were being shot on the streets at 10 o'clock at night past curfew. And every morning, if you woke up early enough, you could see them picking the bodies up off the ground and throwing them in a cattle truck and then dumping them in the river. There were so many people dead, they could not contain them. So they just threw them all in a massive watery grave. Are we heading into that type of lifestyle here in America? Because we're hearing about death and destruction, the idea of some horrible accident that's going to happen that'll make President Bush president. We're hearing about all these aspiring to be terrorists that are going to blow up shit like the JFK pipes. We read about in the paper how all of our secrets are underground. What you need to understand is that what we're actually seeing, metaphorically speaking, and you can think I'm nuts and I don't care because I talked about this last week and now it's in the paper. What we are seeing is the real apocalypse. The apocalypse itself means the revealing. It means the unraveling of that which was once secret, that which was once sacred. The body now is being revealed. No longer is it a secret to see guts and lungs and spleens and skin. It's no longer a secret because now they can take a body, put it in an acetone bath, boil off all of its skin, and there you have the real, raw you.
Cadavers on Mythbusters.
It's there. You see that raw. Raw flesh, raw soul, raw everything. And not only that, but in a real apocalypse, all things that were sacred, taboo, and what have you are now open. They're open for you to discover. They're open for you to look at. I got the feeling that looking over a lot of stories, the E. Howard Hunt story, I don't know if you're familiar with him on his deathbed saying who killed Kennedy. But all of these things that we once thought were secret are now being revealed. And you know, conspiracy theorists, people who like to say that I'm a conspiracy theorist, which I don't like to say I am, I'm more or less a conspiracy analyst, but people who look at conspiracy theory are going to start losing ground because the secrets are going to be given out before the dead. The dead are going to give up their secrets, like they do in this body worlds thing. Those who are about to die are going to give up their secrets, like the E. Howard Hunt story. And people who are afraid they're going to die are going to start giving up shit. Because it's getting that close. It's getting that close. We are on the edge of realizing our own fragility. Our fragility, life as it is fragile. The fragility of life, and yet we also need to learn another thing. That even though life is so fragile, and even though our government and our world and our United States and our existence is all fragile, it can be forgiving as well. It can be forgiving if we decide to take action to make sure that those things that we take for granted are looked into and investigated and brought out. Not out of hate or spite or whatever, but brought out because they need to be heard and talked about. Dig deep. Look underground for those secrets. Dig deep in you. Look into that black shit they call your body and figure out if there's anything golden in there. And if there is, please tell us what it is. That golden thing I'm talking about, that little crystal, that little pearl that's inside of you, is the truth. Because the truth is not out there, it's in here. It's in you. It's easy, right? It's easy to figure out that the truth is inside you. The truth is underneath you. The truth is above you. All you got to do is look for it. All you got to do is seek it out. All you got to do is go back to all those basic stories that people have laughed at over the years and see if there's any validity to them. Find out if there's a reason why these stories have been covered up. Why they're underneath you instead of in front of you. You know, it's not going to be what's in front of you that's going to matter the most. It's going to be what you don't see. You always get fucked by the things you don't see. They hit you from behind you and go, shit, what was that? I didn't see it. Well, of course you didn't see it. You weren't looking at it. That's exactly what's going to happen when we have that major event that they keep talking about. We're going to go, I never even thought of that. I didn't know that we could fly planes into buildings and make them come down. I didn't know that. Condoleezza Rice didn't know that. Bush didn't know that when he was reading to kids with a little fucking goat book. He didn't know that. Sure made it sound like he knew it, but he didn't know it. Or maybe he did. Maybe those stories you hear about, or maybe they didn't know about it. Maybe they did create it. Just so you can be afraid. Just so those nightmares can keep haunting you. You can't lose sleep over one thing. You'll lose sleep over something else. You're going to lose sleep over losing your family. Losing sleep over dying in a terrorist attack. You can't keep banking on your own destruction even though they're plotting it. You got to start banking on your own survival. I saw an ad as I was getting ready to get up here and talk. And it was for that Live Free, Die Harder film, or Live Free, Die Hard. No, in order to live free, you got to live better. And you got to start thinking better, and you got to stop leaning, you got to stop being this bumper sticker patriot, or this bumper sticker Democrat, or this bumper sticker Republican. I see all these impeach bumper stickers on cars. Who gives a shit? Why are we saying impeach when that son of a bitch is not going to be in much longer?
Too late.
It is too late. They should have done it a long time ago, but no. You know, we didn't get a chick into the White House to give this guy a blowjob to get him out of office. That's all it takes, right? Suck a little dick, you're out of office. You can blow up whatever country you want. Hey, if some chick's sucking in your cock, man, you are out. You are gone.
Unless you're Newt Gingrich.
What I'm getting at is, the revealing is going to happen. The apocalypse is the revealing. Revealing, revelation, apocalypse. It is the apocalypse. Why? Because they made it out that way. They created the blueprint, they created the script, and we as the players in the play are acting accordingly. We are moving to their cues and their curtain calls.
It's all in God's hands.
Exactly. It's all in God's hands. At least that's what they'll tell you. It's all written out in couplets and sonnets by some French guy who was drunk half the time he wrote his shit. It's all there for you in a nice gum wrapper that you can read, nice horoscope that you can find in the paper. Not necessarily, but they want you to think that that's how it is. I was going over some old Ground Zero shows, and I was very, very fascinated by some old stuff that I dug up with Paula Zahn on CNN talking about the end of the world. And they did a whole series on Paula Zahn talking about the end of the world. And I thought, my God, and I'm going to say this again, when did CNN become CBN, the Christian Broadcast Network? When did we give all of this power to people like Jerry Falwell, who croaked? Thank God. Yeah, applause. Tinky Winky is happy that he's dead. But, you know, all of these people that we empower to speak for us are fools. They're morons, and we're rewarding them all.
And pay them.
And we pay them, yes. We pay them and reward them. I do not believe. That's why 15% of the American people don't like their candidates, because they know there's going to be the same old shit, different day. What's that song by The Who? Don't get fooled again. And we certainly are, aren't we, if we vote? Jim, you say something? Go ahead. Go ahead, Jim. I'm running out of breath.
I was just gonna try to close it out here. I was gonna wait until you were done. Just as a total aside, I got a phone call yesterday at work from a fellow I used to work with. Did you know that HBO ran Penn and Teller's Bullshit again
My show?
the other night?
With
Yes.
me? Awesome, yeah.
It's still being run.
It's one of their best shows. I give you all a hand for being in that, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody who was there, including Beret Dude.
Dude.
Myself with the 8-drink minimum.
So they're still running it on HBO.
Yeah, they're still running it.
It'd be cool if they ran it after The Sopranos. I would love that shit. That'd be great. That'd bring up my ratings a whole heart.
So it's still.
You know, what's really cool is I just wanted to let you know that Wikipedia.com wanted to delete my entry because they didn't think I was notable enough. It's still there because I am. I'm happy about that. They realized that, oh, he's somebody important? I don't know.
Re-notable.
Read on. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Paige.
Speaking of Penn and Teller's Bullshit, real quickly, I was having dinner up at a McMiniman's at Mall 205 the other night, and there was 3, frat boy, old guys, in their 40s and 50s, sitting there around the table being really fucking loud when I walked in. And I didn't recognize them, I thought, what a bunch of obnoxious dicks. And every once in a while they would finish a sentence and, I went to the golf court and we hopped in the golf cart and we went back to the clubhouse. And I was sitting across from my friend and I'd finish the sentence really loudly, like, yeah, and then we had butt sex in the locker room. And she was getting a kick out of it. And this one dude in a white shirt was sitting there and he was like, just fuming at me, just getting pissed at me because I'd finish his sentences really just as loud as he was being, And I talked to the waiter and I said, my God, I'll give you $5 if you let me kill these bastards. And, no, I can't do that. And I said, okay, well, what's the faggiest, gayest drink you've got in here? Let me send 3 of those over and send them with a wink from me. So this is all, going on, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I know this guy from somewhere. This son of a bitch, I hate him. And I hated him before I even realized that I knew who the fucker was. And as I'm walking out, I look at my girlfriend and I say, holy shit, isn't that Clyde Lewis? And he just fucking glares at me. Recently featured on Penn and Teller's Bullshit, it was Lars Larson, boys and girls.
That's funny. That's hilarious. That's funny. All right. You have another thing, Eric? No, go ahead, really. You go first. I talk too much.
I just want to remind everybody that we pay for these people we elect, right? We also pay for the military, we pay for the bombers. We're paying people to torture people. That's what really bugs me. I'm the accomplice. I'm BTK too. That's sick.
Well, what gets me is that, the bombs that are underneath us and the bullets that are going to be coming at us are the best bullets and bombs are money bought. And they're going to be turned right on us because we keep fortifying that military-industrial complex. And I'm not saying the military is bad. What I'm saying is the expanding of everything military. Everything's military these days. Everything is. I saw a commercial that really fucking bugged me. These guys are playing video games and all of a sudden the soldier goes, hey, you want to do it for real? Man, Jesus, man, lowest common denominator right there. You want to do real video game work? You don't even have to see any blood. All you got to do is just position the joystick and fire. You be in LA and they're over there in Mogadishu. It's just weird. It's weird the way, we're being sanitized to accept this death without sympathy or death without any pain. That's why we see this body world shit. Like I said, you wouldn't be able to see beef jerky, standing at attention in any museum 20, 30 years ago. I mean, you still would see mummies and you see bones, but you don't see real people
There go the temple walls.
Yeah, we're bringing down the secrets and revealing them in the human body. We're revealing them everywhere.
But I don't know how to put it. The nastiest part about all of this is in the revealing that you're talking about, Clyde, and I agree with that. Is that once you crack open the earth, the demons that have been lying there for a long time, whether it's Cthulhu, whether it's Moloch, I mean, the ancient savage, you can talk about the Mayans, I mean, the gods that worshipped bloodlust, that worshipped the sacrifice of the firstborn.
They're here right now.
They're back, and they're back with a vengeance, and that's when I talk about the waking up of the masses, is that the waking up of the masses cannot just go into a meditative state. They can't just get a new age amulet. They have to send the demons back to the abyss. And that's what I talk about, action. It's not just connecting the dots, it's connecting the dots and making a weapon out of that. Using it as our weapon of defense and eventually a weapon of attack.
Remember the three woes: the whirlwind, the fire, the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit's coming. We've already had the whirlwind and the fires. The whirlwinds continue, the fires still burn, and then comes that event. That big one where it's under our feet. I love that headline. I just framed it. Secrets underground. This is so amazing. Secret risks underground. Bold print. Looks like something out of the Weekly World News. I'm expecting Bat Boy fucking next week. Amazing, isn't it? Go ahead, Bob.
No, I was just, as I was telling you earlier tonight, I just have a really bad feeling that big event is coming real soon.
Oh, it has to.
It's coming real soon.
Too much shit is happening. It's got to happen. If it doesn't, then they're slipping.
I mean, they've set it up. Everything is set up for it right now. So look, and when it does happen, don't believe a thing you're told.
We got the TB scare. I mean, H5N1 is going to happen again next time, right? People get H5N1. You know the symptoms of H5N1, the bird flu, right? You get nausea, you get vomiting, and you have this urge to shit on someone's car. That's H5N1. No. It's around the corner. E. coli, TB, all this shit. We're in the 21st century. We can't even beat something as small as a little alien E. coli virus. An E. coli bacteria. What? Measles. What? Measles? Really? We were supposed to get shot up for measles. Oh, we got a line here. We got to get. Go ahead, Paul.
Tuberculosis! Catch tuberculosis!
I was just thinking that, strangely enough, for me, I think that Iran has not been in the news as much as it was a month ago when they were talking about April 7th as the day of the reckoning of Iran. And that's what makes me think, personally, that something is going to happen because it was in the news and now it's out of the news. And just as we've amassed our 4 carrier groups, done our last training drills and all this, and so it's been out of the news for a couple of weeks, and then it's going to be a bang.
Operation Granite Shadow, man. They're forming it right now.
And then we tell Russian we're going to put missiles in.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Today I was over at Bonneville Power Administration on 11th and Northeast. I'm a courier. I make deliveries there. And that's one of the places. It's one of the few places in Portland, Oregon, where I have to go somewhere and empty my pockets and pull the metal objects out of it, okay? Which is rather strange for me because I come from the East Coast and I have to do that pretty much. In the East Coast, you've got to do that pretty much everywhere you go, whether it's a bank or security for a building or whatever. Now, the Bonneville Power Administration, I presented my Oregon driver's license to the security guard. After looking at it, he then asked me, "Are you an American citizen?" At which point, I then had to remind him that Oregon is one of the 48 contiguous states in the United States of America. Anyway, the point I'm bringing is, at the security counter I made my delivery, they had to indicate the security color for today, which is yellow, which I guess is good, right? That means things aren't too crazy, we're not going to get killed anytime soon. The yellow color was indicated by a cylinder 10 inches tall and about 3 inches round, similar to the cylinders you get at the bank drive-through when you put your deposit in the little tube and set up a little suction thing, you know what I'm talking about? Well, anyway, the little suction thing tube display, and to get the color yellow, it was filled with yellow M&Ms. They must have a cylinder of yellow M&Ms, orange M&Ms, red M&Ms, and they must...
The green ones are being held everywhere.
Who's fucking hoarding the green ones?
Wait a minute. The funny part is, like, the M&Ms, they must have had these for 5 years, because the M&Ms were, like, cracked, and you can see the chocolate was... So it's like a yellow and brown alert today, folks.
Yeah, brown
Go
alert.
to the bathroom if you have a brown alert.
Brown alert is when you start shitting out of your eyes again. That ocular shitting I was talking about.
That's what it is. Yellow and brown. Take a look in your toilet bowl.
That's what it is. You've got the piss and shit scared out of you so badly, that's what you need to look at. Look for. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, in conclusion, I want to let you guys all know what I'm going to do this weekend.
Oh, yes, tell us.
Speaking of digging up old things and looking at the old stories and trying to bring them to the forefront.
Maury Island.
How many people know about the Maury Island incident by applause?
Very important.
Not very many people, but a few do.
Very important.
I am going to take back the Northwest hole on UFOs because those sons of bitches in Roswell ripped us off. The first real modern UFO encounter happened on Maury Island in Washington, when a group of men were on the island and they saw some UFOs come down and drop hot metal slag onto a boat, killing a dog and harming and injuring a young boy. 2 men that were involved happened to meet up with some men in black, and they presented the slag to this men in black. The men in black then presented the slag to 2 men. The 2 men were put on a plane to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The plane went down in Kelso, Longview area, and it was just reported in the news a couple of months ago that an old guy was out digging around out there, and he found that plane that apparently did not exist.
No shit.
Yeah, they'd already said that the story was a hoax, but yet they found an airplane that went down in that area, and the cargo, according to Northwest News, the cargo was a UFO, a flying saucer, heading to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Came right out and said they were saucer investigators on the plane going to Wright-Patterson, and they died in this horrible plane crash, and the evidence went with it. Well, apparently now they got this round ball of whatever that's filled with aluminum and metal and some sort of alloy. They don't know what the hell it is, and now it's hanging out in the Seattle Museum of Mysteries.
Reynolds wrap.
Yeah, it's Reynolds wrap. It's a Mylar balloon, people. Get over it. No, it's really fascinating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be working on a broadcast for the internet. I'll announce when it's going to be airing. Hopefully we'll get some pictures and some video of the thing. But we're going to go and we're going to hang out on Maury Island. And we're going to, there's also reports of a black unmarked boat that comes out there all the time, and scuba divers jump into the water and they recover something all the time. It's still going on today. So we're going to try and get some interesting stuff, try to give you the backstory on this and let you know. We want to have it ready by the time Roswell rolls around, so we have something to talk about that is Northwest. Kenneth Arnold saw the 9 UFOs also in the Northwest. We have the McMinnville sighting. We have a lot of background in UFOs here that we can dig up. 60 years ago, Roswell happened. 60 years ago, Maury Island happened, and we're going to go and investigate that. So that'll be coming up in a new, hopefully, I don't know if it's going to come up next week, but it's going to come up soon. Ground Zero Lounge talking about the Maury Island incident and a whole lot of other stuff coming up. Day Called X is going to be showing again here at Dantes. We want to announce that. And for those of you that have tried to go to the ClydeLewis.com website, ClydeLewis.com is now down. It no longer works. If you want to go to the Ground Zero website, you go to www.groundzero.org. We are now moving everything over to the groundzeromedia.org site, and soon it will be over on the IdeoCast website as well. And we're going to move forward with a major internet network. And it'll be great because you'll be able to get everything you want. The only problem, though, that I'm seeing is that with all the new laws that are taking into effect, I may have to charge $1 for a download. That's the first time we've ever had to do that, but I have to do it because of the laws. So be looking for all that. We'll see you next week at Ground Zero Lounge. Karaoke from Hell is coming up, so stick around for that. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank everyone for participating. See you next week.